Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone once again to our second session of Journey of Self-Discovery. Everybody can hear me in the back? Okay. So last time, what did we discuss last time?
Search for happiness.
Search for happiness. Okay.
What are the real problems?
The real problems of life.
How are humans different from
How are we special? How are we special? What is the speciality between human beings and animals? Anything else? What else did we discuss?
what are the three types of problems?
Okay, yeah, we discussed that one. Said the real problems of life. So, we started with how are we special? How are we special as a human being? What is the difference in human beings and animals? So, what is the difference? Higher consciousness, the ability to inquire. And then the real problems of life. Everybody search for happiness, but there are always some problem or other problems. What are the real problems of life? It's not that lack of money, lack of food, lack of housing, those are the real problems. The real problems of life are, it can be categorized in three categories. The real problem is which is common to everybody. Nobody want it, nobody can avoid it. Those are real problems of life. And those problems can fit into three categories. Adi Bhautik Klesh, Adi Atmik Klesh and Adi Devik Klesh. The problems caused by our own body and mind. Problems caused by other living entities to us. And then problem caused by higher nature. And then we discussed, if we want to solve the problem, from where do we get the knowledge? Right? From where we inquire, from where we acquire the knowledge. Because we have to inquire from somebody who can solve the problem, who is free from the problem. So from where we acquire knowledge, there are different methods of acquiring knowledge. First method is sense perception. Acquiring knowledge based on our senses. What we see, what we feel, what we touch, what we hear. With all those things, what knowledge we can acquire, that is sense perception. But there are faults for acquiring knowledge based on sense perception because our senses are limited. Right? Our senses have tendency to be illusioned. Our tendency are making mistake. So those are because of those limitations, this method is not the right method. Then the second method is logic by inference. So we do a lot of logic, we do some speculation. So based on that we try to acquire knowledge. I think like this, I feel like this. Right? So based on that we try to acquire knowledge. And then the next method which we discussed to acquire knowledge is based on Shabd Praman, hearing from the authority. Hearing from the authority. Now who can be the authority? Who can be the authority?
Somebody who has experienced it.
Which has not changed with time, which has never been proven wrong, which has stood the test of time. So that can be the authority. Our science, right? All these scientific experiments, scientific theories, do they fit into that category?
No.
No, because they change with time. But the authority is which has never changed with finding of new facts. Our theories change every other day. Then it has stood the test of time. It has never been proven wrong. In our scientific word or based on our speculation, we come up with some conclusion which changes with time, or somebody disproves this and gives a new theory. So what is the authority then? Shastra, scriptures. The knowledge coming from scripture which has never been proven wrong and it has stood the test of time. But now our problem is, do we put faith in scripture? Do we put faith in the Shastra, in the words of experienced, learned scholar, learned people, the sages, do we put faith in that? When it comes to Shastra, people claim so many different things. But who has written this Shastra? Who has written this scripture? Some old people sitting in the caves, written on the palm leaves. Is it still valid these days? How do I believe in Shastra? Is it still relevant today? So people have so many questions. People disbelieve. We put faith in everything in this world. Right? We put faith in everything. We have so much blind faith. How? We put faith in everything from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go to the bed. In so many things you put faith. When you get up in the morning, first thing, what do? You go to brush your teeth. So you go to your bathroom, you take that brush and that paste and squeeze that paste on your brush and put it in your mouth. Now, who created that paste? We have so much faith. Oh, this is a big branded company. I have full faith in this. Do you ever get a doubt if somebody has put a poison in that toothpaste and you're putting that and putting in your mouth? What if all your teeth fall out by putting that toothpaste in your mouth? Do you ever doubt? No. We have so much faith. Then you, after getting ready, dressed up, you go, you want to eat breakfast, you open your refrigerator, take out that bottle of milk and that cereal box out. You put that cereal and milk in that. Do you ever doubt what are the ingredients in this? What if somebody has put a poison injection in that and I'm going to eat that? We never put any doubt in these things. We think, oh, it's a very reliable company. I'm full confident in that. And when you travel by car or plane or train. When you go by plane or by train, you just go to your seat and sit down. Do you ever go to the cabin of the plane crew and see who is flying that plane? If it is a monkey flying that plane or it's a real person sitting there? How many of you have ever gone into the cabin, pilot cabin, and checked, verified, please show me your identity. Let me verify you have a right degree or not. You are eligible to fly this plane or not. Anybody has done that?
They don't even allow.
They will not even allow you, right? Just have faith. We have qualified pilot there. Just don't argue. Just go sit down on your seat. Fasten your seat belt. So we put faith in so many things, day in and day out. But when it comes to believing the scriptures, we get so many doubts, so many questions. Why it is like this? Why it is like this? Who wrote this? Is it still valid or not? Now there are so many things which are mentioned in scripture which has come true. There are so many predictions of the future which are mentioned in the scriptures. And it is in front of our eyes, those things have come true. There are predictions about future personalities who are going to come in the future. So let's say Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the Purana. There are how many Puran?
16.
18 Puran. And out of those 18 Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam is considered as the topmost Puran. And in that, and many other scriptures, let's say Bhavishya Puran. Bhavishya Puran is another scripture. It talks about many personalities which are going to come in the future. And this scripture were put in writing 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago, put in writing. It doesn't mean it does not exist before that. It was existing before that also, but in oral reception. So somebody speaks and another person hears. That's how this knowledge was coming down. But in writing, this was put 5,000 years ago. Now, that time it was mentioned about personalities who are going to come in future, such as Ashoka, King Ashoka. It's mentioned in Bhavishya Puran. It has come true, right? About how long back? When did Ashoka come? If anybody knows history.
Around 10th century, 1000 BC.
1000 BC, so about 25 years ago. And then there are prediction of Chanakya. Chanakya's prediction is there, which has happened. There is prediction actually in Bhavishya Puran about Jesus Christ also. Okay, so that also has come true. So many predictions like that, and then it describes the symptoms of Kali Yuga also. What will be the situation of Kali Yuga? So the time period we live in now, that is called Kali Yuga. And the symptoms of Kali Yuga are described in Shastra. You know what are the symptoms described? Tatshanudinam dharma satyam shocham kshamadama kalena balina rajan nashyati ayu balam smritihi. So by the fact of time, these things will keep degrading. What are these things? Dharma, satyam, shocham, kshama, daya. Kalena balina rajan nashyati. These things will keep degrading. What else? Ayu, balah, smriti. The duration of life, the physical strength, and the memory. The remembrance, power of remembering. So these things will keep degrading with time. Is it a fact or not? Now just look at satyam, truthfulness. The quality of truthfulness, is it declining day by day? What we have seen 40 years ago, 50 years ago, people can relate to that if somebody has existed that long back. Those basic moral qualities which existed that time till now, how much degradation has happened? So that is satya. Now, patience, the quality of patience, has it gone down?
Yes.
People are so short-tempered, right? There is no patience. Earlier, you are standing on a red light, and the red light turns green. The person did not move, and that after turning green, it has again turned red. The person behind is sitting quietly. But now, 2 seconds, the light has turned green, the person does not move, and the people behind will start honking. Because there is no patience. The quality of patience is going down. Now, ayu, the life duration. Is the life duration going down or going up? Science may claim, medical field may claim, we have increased the life duration. Now, relative to what? Right? Relative to what? If there wasn't some epidemic or something, if you calculate based on that, somebody may say, oh, that time people at the age of 20, 30 were dying. We have found new vaccine and we have increased the life duration. But compare it with the longer duration of time. What is your relativity? So life duration, earlier, we'll see people will live longer, live healthy. Now, at such young age, people are living depending on medicine. Diabetes, blood pressure, रोज का एक गोली खाओ, blood pressure का गोली खाओ, diabetes का गोली खाओ, injection लगाओ. This is how you are surviving. And then they think we have increased the duration of life. So the life duration is going down. Balam, physical strength. Physical strength has gone down.
Yes.
Agree?
Yes.
Our elders, father, grandfather, they will live so healthy. They will have so much physical strength. At the age of 70, 80, they will be able to work so much hard work, right, in the fields. Now, a 20-year-old person, young person, you tell them, can you lift this 20-pound bag? Need help, one more person. It will be difficult for one person to carry. And then people say, I have back problem. I cannot lift by myself. How about intelligence or the memory power? Is memory power going down?
Yeah.
So I can relate it to my childhood when there was no telephones, right? The telephone newly came. When I was in my elementary school, that was the first time when the telephones came, and we had at our home the telephone, and there is a dial system, right? Not the push buttons. It's a dial system, and actually that dial system was also for show only. By dialing, you cannot dial directly. So you lift up the phone and wait for somebody in the telephone exchange to lift and call. and you tell them I need to dial this number, and then they will connect to you to that number. Anybody has experienced that one? So this is how it used to when the telephones came. And once I was in my school and they asked me to call at my home. So I lifted up the phone. I thought there's a nice dial, so let me dial my number, home number. So I was dialing this number, that number, and I was waiting somebody will pick up the phone. And somebody from the exchange finally picked up, and they were asking. So I thought somebody from my family, from my home, picked up the phone. And they finally asked me, बेटा किससे बात करना है, किसका नंबर मिलाना है? And how many number you were able to remember by heart that time? Most of the number you will try to remember, right? You will have those numbers by heart. My home number, my neighbor's number, this number, that number. You will try to remember those by heart. How many numbers you remember by heart now, honestly?
Our own number we forget.
Our own number, Professor, we forget. So that's the fact. लोगों को लगता है अपना किसी को बोलो नया phone. Somebody took a new phone, and the person goes to somebody and the person asks, "Can you tell me your phone number?" Hold on. Let me look in my phone. What is my own number? And you tell somebody, "This is my number." You have to tell 10 times. Prabhuji, my number is 24846481155. Hold on. Tell me quietly, little slowly. Let me write it down. So our memory power has gone so down. And in the future, what will be the situation? You ask somebody, what is your name? Where do you live? Oh, let me look up in my computer. So that's how memory power is going down. So these are the predictions which are mentioned in the scripture. That this will be the situation of the time to come. And we already see in front of our eyes it has come true. And with the degradation, with the passage of time, it is further going to degrade. So if we really want to understand, really want to learn something, we have to learn from the authority which has stood the test of time. Whatever is mentioned has come true. It has never been proven wrong, and it has never changed with the finding of new fact. So what is that? That is scriptures. Now, when we want to solve the problems of life, the first question comes. First, we need to understand, who am I? So first session was search for happiness. The second session is search of our real identity. Unless we know who am I, how you can solve the problems? Unless you know who you are, how do you know what you are supposed to do? Example. So who am I? First, that's what we need to understand. Am I this body? Everybody, you stand in front of the mirror. You look at yourself. When you see your reflection in the mirror, what do you think? Who are you? Are you that body in the mirror which you see? Are you that face? Are you that head? Are you that hair? Are you those clothes which you are wearing? So who are you? So that is the first question. Who am I? Am I this body which is the bag of flesh and bones? That's what I am? Is that all my reality, my identity? Are we this bag of blood, flesh, mucus, bone? That's all? Bunch of chemicals? So then who we are? So that is the one very fundamental question we need to ask. Can you stand in front? Yeah, because I think... sorry. So, is it hard for you to sit, Prabhu?
Yeah.
You can sit on that nice fancy chair.
It's okay.
Okay. So the first question which we want to ask is, who am I? What is my real identity? And why it is so important? Anybody? Why it is so important to first know who we are?
Personality.
Personality. Okay.
Then we know how to improve ourselves.
If you know who you are, then you can try to improve yourself. So there are so many courses of personality development. Right? Personality development. People think I need to improve my personality. I want to become better. First you need to understand who you are. Then you can improve your personality. So why it is important to understand who we are? Are we this body? Are we the mind? Are we our intelligence? So that was the first question which was answered by Krishna to Arjuna. Everybody knows about Krishna, Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra 5,000 years ago. So at that time, when Arjuna said, I don't want to fight this war, I'm bewildered about my duty, what I'm supposed to do. So when Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna started speaking. Krishna started giving the knowledge. And the first thing Krishna spoke was the real identity, who we are. Because it's very important to first understand who we are, then we can act in that position, in that responsibility. For example, you go to an office. Right? So you go inside the office, you are kind of pushed inside the office, go work here. What will be the first question? First tell me what is my role here. Right? Who am I in this office? Am I the CEO of this office? Am I the manager? Am I the director? Am I the peon? Who am I in this office? Because until I know who am I, how do I know what I'm supposed to do here? So that is the first question everybody need to ask. Who am I? And when you go at the border, when you have to board a plane, you have to show your identity. They will ask you. Before entering into the airport, entering into the plane, you have to show your passport to prove your identity. Who you are. So if I ask everybody here who you are, everybody may give maybe 10 different answers based on the person. Who are you?
I don't know body.
Now just if you are invited for an interview and they ask you, that is the first question in an interview. Tell me something about you. Right? Who are you? Isn't it? Any interview you go, that will be the first question. You have to describe yourself. Who are you? Of course, that time you have to tell based on that norm only. At that time, you are not going to tell what you are going to teach today. So there, what do you say?
That's my name.
Your name. I am Vrindanath Das. I am from India. I am from such and such background. I have done this. I have done masters. I have this. I have that. So that is what people identify as who they are. This is my identification. But is that our real identification? That identification is based on the body. But are we this body? So how do we understand who we are? So we are not this body. If I tell you today, you are not this body, but you are something who are living inside this body. You are not the body, you are the soul who is residing inside this body. That is our real identity. This body is just the clothing for the soul. Now as soon as we hear this word soul, Atma, Punarjanam, reincarnation, karma, so many questions come in mind. So many doubts come in mind. Is it really true that some Atma जैसी कोई चीज होती है? There is something like Atma. There is something like reincarnation, Punarjanam. How many of you really, really believe in soul, in reincarnation? Be honest with yourself. How many of you really believe in the concept of soul and reincarnation? So maybe mostly you believe. I hope so. Right? Coming from this background, I hope so you believe in those concepts. Because when Krishna started giving this knowledge, that's from where he started. You are not the body, you are the soul. And Arjuna had full faith in these concepts. He did not question, first prove me the existence of soul. He accepted. But these days, people, because they don't have these understanding of these concepts, soul, reincarnation, karma, this, that. So when we do this journey of self-discovery course, first we talk about these concepts to prove the concept, prove the existence of soul, to bring people to that level of understanding first so that we can move forward to understand other things. So these days, first we have to bring people to that level of understanding. So proof of existence of soul. People may question, can you show me soul? Is there really soul? Can you prove the existence of soul? So how do you prove the existence of soul? First thing, the very first thing to understand the soul, I'll say as common sense. Common sense which is not common these days. Right? So with common sense we can understand there is something beyond the body which is residing inside the body who is controlling this body. How? With common sense we can prove that. Have you seen somebody dying? We see day in, day out, we see people dying. You may have seen a dead body lying in front of you. Have anybody seen a dead body in front of you? Maybe some of you at least, right? You have seen a dead body. When somebody dies, what do people say? Mar gaya. He is dead. He is no more. He passed away. He left his body. Have you heard these terminologies, these phrases? Right? Mr. So-and-so passed away. Mr. So-and-so left his body. So who left the body? Body is lying there in front of you. So who has left the body? We say he left the body. He passed away. So it means there is something which is residing in the body now which has gone from the body. In the absence of that thing, now this body is a dead body. So this living body is the gross body, the dead body plus something living becomes the living body. And when that living entity leaves that body becomes a dead body. How many of you have heard wo chal base? Anybody has heard that term? Wo chal base. So what does it mean? वो चल बसे. चल बसे का मतलब क्या है? वो यहां से चले कहीं और जाकर बसे. So he has left this body, now he has got another body. Now he has gone somewhere else. So chal base. He has left this body, gone somewhere else. So that is common sense for proof of existence of soul. Another common sense thing. Everybody, raise your hand. Raise your hand. What do you call this hand? If I ask you what is this, what do you say?
Fingers.
Fingers, hands, okay. Whose hand?
Mine.
What did everybody say?
Mine.
My hand. What is this face? Whose face?
My face.
My face. This body, whose body?
Mine.
Did anybody say I hand, I face, I body? Anybody said that? Everybody said my hand, my face, my body. Whose body? You are the body. Earlier that's what we thought. I am this body. But whose body? So it means I am not this body. I am living somebody else within this body, and this body belongs to that person. Right? So he said my hand, my face, my body, my shirt, my kurta, my dhoti. So it belongs to me. I am not this thing. Isn't it? Now there is a concept of iPhone, iPad, I this, I that. But we don't call ourselves I face, I hand, I body. Another common sense thing to understand that we are not this body, we are the soul. When you see through the eyes, who sees? Is this the eye which see, or is somebody else who is seeing through the eyes? When you smell something, is this the nose which is smelling, or is it somebody who is smelling through the nose? When you hear something, is your ear hearing, or somebody through the ear is hearing? Is this ear hearing, eyes seeing, or the nose smelling? So it is somebody who is using these as instrument to function. Because if the eyes are seeing, if the nose is smelling, ears are hearing, even the dead body has the eye, nose and ear. But can a dead person see? Can a dead person hear? Can a dead person smell? No, why not? Same nose is still there, eyes are still there, ear is still there. Why that person is not hearing? Because there was somebody else who was living in that body who was utilizing these instruments to act, to perform. Because another example to understand. So if somebody is wearing glasses, right? So now when you are wearing these glasses or you are watching through that binocular, is that binocular or the glasses are actually seeing, or somebody is seeing through these glasses or through the binocular? Who is seeing? Somebody is using that as an instrument. Somebody is seeing through that binocular, somebody is seeing through that glasses, not the glass itself or binocular itself which is seeing. So same way, for this body, there is somebody residing in the body who is seeing through these instruments. Because if the eyes itself could see, the dead person should see even more. At the time of death, these eyes bulge out, they become even bigger, wider. So that person should see even bigger, more, if the eyes were the one who were seeing. So it's somebody else residing in the body which is doing all these activities through these instruments. Another, we have consciousness, right? You can sense, you have feeling of sensation. That feeling of sensation, that consciousness is the proof that somebody is there in the body who is able to feel. The proof of consciousness is proof of soul. Because the dead matter, the dead body does not have any sensation. You go to a dead body, a dead person, and you pinch the dead person or you kick that dead person. Is the dead person going to scream, "I am hurt, please do not do that, please do not pinch me"? Will a dead person speak like that? Why he is not feeling any pain? Because there is no consciousness. Something which is bringing that consciousness has left the body, because of which there is no consciousness. So having consciousness is the proof of having the soul. And this consciousness flows throughout the body. How does this consciousness flow? So when the soul is present in the body, the consciousness flows throughout the body, and the consciousness flows through the medium of blood. Wherever there is blood, you have sensation. Any part of the body where there is blood present, there is sensation. You pinch any part of your body, you will feel the pain, because there is consciousness flowing through that. But the dead matter, or the part of the body where there is no flow of blood, there is no consciousness. You cut your nails. When you cut your nail, does the nail cry, "Oh, I'm feeling pain, please do not cut me"? Or when the barber cut your hair, do you feel pain? The hair itself does not feel pain, but yes, if the barber will pull your hair from the skin, because in the skin there is blood flowing and you feel that consciousness, that sensation is there. So the proof of consciousness is there is soul present in the body. You are sitting on the floor. Floor is a dead matter. You sit on the floor, you sit on the chair for 2 hours. The chair is not going to cry. I am very tired now. I am feeling pain. Please get up from me. The floor is not going to say, please get up from me. I am very tired now. If your son, your daughter comes and sit in your lap, 30 minutes, 1 hour, what will you say? Please get up. I am very tired now. Why? Because you have sensation. You have consciousness present, which makes the difference. You kick a football, football is not going to say, I'm crying, I'm hurt. If you kick a living person, you kick a person sitting next to you, what will happen?
Kick comes back.
Kick comes back. Reaction. Or at least the person will say, why did you do that? It hurts me. So, proof of consciousness, proof of soul, one thing to understand is common sense. By common sense, with our regular these phrases, we can understand there is something in the body. I am not this body. But somebody may say, I am a very scientific person. I need some scientific explanation, some experimental explanation to understand the proof of soul. How many of you have heard these terminologies as out-of-body experience, near-death experience? Anybody has heard about these terms? Right? Out-of-body experience, near-death experience. Somebody say, I was on my deathbed and I saw a big light. I was going and there was huge light. I saw this thing and that thing and then I came back. So what that person is explaining as a near-death experience. Leaving that body, the soul is being taken to a different place as the person is experiencing that. But then it comes back. Out-of-body experience. So there are so many of these scientific explanations are there. So many of these latest findings are also there. For example, one person is being operated. So when they operate, right, if somebody has to do an open heart surgery, they do a full anesthesia. The person cannot feel anything. He is not experiencing anything. It's like he is almost dead, right? He is completely unconscious. So in that unconscious state of mind, the person doesn't know what is happening. They put a cut all across with the big sharp blade. They cut apart all the ribs to do this open heart surgery. So this person is being operated, and after everything is done, this person, he started talking to the doctors. When you guys were operating on me, you guys were talking about golf? What is that? I was in that situation, in such a complicated situation. You guys are talking about golf, and outside from the window I was hearing so many of the car noises coming, and there were some kids playing football outside. I was hearing all that, and these doctors are shocked. How that the person can understand, can experience anything? Because how does that happen? Somebody, the soul has left the body, still present in the ether there, is witnessing everything what is happening there on the body. And he's come back and he's telling everything. Oh, I experienced this thing and that thing. So that is out-of-body experience. Near-death experience, out-of-body experience, that is the scientific proof of existence of soul, that there are so many real stories are there which prove the existence of soul. Another proof, reincarnation and past life memories. So there is a doctor called Dr. Stevenson Carlons. He has done so many of these case studies on reincarnation. Okay, some people, they talk about we have this thing or that thing, some memories of their previous life. We were this, we were living in that place, we used to do this. And they have done very thorough scientific research to make sure this person is not just hallucinating or just telling lies. So they have done the detailed research to prove that. So one child, okay, so just quoting one example. So one child just age of 5-6 years, and he used to tell, I used to live in that village, and I was this person, I had a wife there, I have children there. And when he started talking like this, the people are surprised, his parents are surprised. We have never told him about that particular name, that particular village. So how does he know about that village? So they were talking like that, and then they were suggested, take the child, go in a train, take the child there, and let's see if he recognizes that place. So when the train stopped at that particular place, the child got down from the train. Oh, this is the place I was talking about. I used to live here. So he started walking, and he started going to tell, my home was at that particular place. And he went in front of a shop and started telling, see, I took some loan from you, 100 rupees loan, or I did not pay you the loan. And that person opened his book, and in that person's name was there, who had really taken the loan. And he was telling, I am that person. Then he went inside the home. As soon as he came in front of the home, he recognized, yeah, this is my home. I used to live in this house. I had my wife here, my children here. So he went inside the house. Now his children from the previous life, they're grown up, elder people. And he started calling, he's my son, his name is this. And people are shocked. So how is he telling that? That is past life memories. So sometimes children up to certain age, they can remember their past life memories. So these are the proof of existence of soul. What are the proofs? How you can prove the existence of soul? Common sense. So first is common sense. Then all these scientific studies, near-death experience, out-of-body experience, past life memories, presence of consciousness, that we have sensation. So that is the proof of existence of soul. We are not the body, we are the soul. Now then the question comes, if we are not the body, we are the soul, then what is this body sitting in front of us, or this 5 feet, 6 feet body? Then who is that person? The scripture, same Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explained this body. What is this body? This is just like a cloth, the dressing for the soul. And what is this body made up of? This body is made up of 8 elements. 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. What are these 5 gross elements? Everybody understand 5 tattva, panch tattva. Pancha tattva, 5 elements, 5 gross elements. Earth, air, water, fire, ether. So these are the 5 gross elements. So our body is made up of 5 gross elements. We have earth element in our body, we have fire element in our body, we have water element in our body, we have air element in our body, and space element, ether. How is that? See, this skin, this flesh, what is that? This is made up of earth element. When somebody dies, when they burn the dead body, what happens to the dead body? It turns into ashes. Raakh ban jata hai. What is that? Dust, earth element. Water. Do we have water in the body? They say our body is made of 70% of our body is water. And because of the water only, the liquid element only, this blood flows throughout the body. Otherwise the blood will not flow. So we have water element in the body. There is fire element. Do we have fire element in the body? Your body has fire. You are not burning. Yes, so there is fire element in the body. Because of that fire, our temperature, body temperature is maintained. Right? It's like thermostat inside the body. There is a thermostat which is maintaining that temperature. If the temperature goes high, what do you say? I have fever. So if there is an imbalance in that fire element in the body, your body is burning. Your body is having fever. And there is, in the stomach also, there is fire. What is that called? Jatharagani. Right? The fire of digestion. People call it fire of digestion. So there is Jatharagani. And there is air element in the body. What is that air element in the body? Breathing. Right? You breathe, you inhale, exhale. So there is a breathing going, there is a air inside and outside going. There's a 5 type of air in the body actually. So because that air element is there, we are able to breathe. And when you yawn also, that yawning is happening because of air element. When there is a lot of negative air in the body, bad air in the body, that causes yawning. So there is imbalance in the body. So we have all these elements. We have earth element, we have fire element, we have water element, we have air element, and there is ether element, sky. What is that ether element in the body? For the sound to travel, what medium it needs? Space. So sound is coming out from the body. You are able to speak, you are able to make some noises. How is that happening? Because of that space element, that ether element. Otherwise there is no sound will come out. So we have, our body is made up of these 5 elements. Apart from these 5 elements, so these 5 elements, gross elements, they are called Sthula Sharir. Gross elements. So our body is made up of Sthula Sharir and Sukshama Sharir. Sthula Sharir is gross element, Sukshama Sharir is subtle element, which you cannot see with your eyes. So gross body you can see, but the subtle body you cannot see with your eyes. What are these subtle elements? Mind, intelligence and false ego. Mind, intelligence and ego. Let's say ego. So we have mind. What does this mind do? So this is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Right? All these 8 elements, our body is made up of 8 elements. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhi revacha ahankar itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtada. So ashtada, 8 elements. Our body is made up of these 8 elements. Bhumi, apo, nalo, vayu, kham. So these are the 5 gross elements. Then mano buddhir ahankar. Mind, intelligence and ego. These are the 3 subtle elements. Now what is this mind? We talk about mind. At the most, when people say mind, they can think of their brain. That's what people relate to mind. Because that's what they can see in the body. Right? If they cut off this skull, anybody has done that physiology course, if you have taken that full physiology, they cut upon all part of the body, dissections, and they show everything. So if somebody open up this skull, inside the skull they will show that brain. So in the brain they say there is a grey matter, white matter. And that is the source of that grey matter, is the source of our intelligence. जिसके अंदर जितना ग्रे मैटर ज्यादा है तो उसके अंदर बुद्धि ज्यादा है. But really, what is this mind? Mind and intelligence. Man, buddhi. What is the function of mind? Anybody? What is the function of mind? Think. Remembering. Okay. Mind is the storehouse of all the thoughts. Act. Okay. Let's come to that point. Act.
Mind proposes.
Mind proposes. Okay. So in nutshell, the function of mind is described as thinking, willing and feeling. That is the function of mind. Think. Mind proposes so many different thoughts, so many different ideas, so many different proposals. That is the job of mind. It's running constantly. There are thousands of thoughts every minute, every second in your mind. And mind is a storehouse of all these thoughts, all these memories also. And willing and feeling. Right? When somebody feels something. लोग बोलते हैं मेरा दिल नहीं कर रहा, मेरा मन नहीं कर रहा. I don't feel like doing this thing. So who is proposing that? Mind. Actually, we should understand it is not our heart. When people say मेरा मन नहीं कर रहा, some people think man means my heart, dil. मेरा दिल नहीं कर रहा, तो it's not heart. Heart's job is not thinking, willing, feeling. Heart's job is pumping the blood. It's not really the heart which is doing that. It's our mind. When we say मेरा मन नहीं कर रहा, man is mind. So our mind proposes so many thoughts, so many different willings and feelings, sensations that is coming from the mind. That's why inside us sometimes we say there are two dogs living, good dog and bad dog. Right? There are bad thoughts and good thoughts, and there is a constant fight going on between these two. And who wins?
Always bad dog.
Bad dog? So mind's function is proposing, thinking, willing, feeling. What is the job of intelligence? What is intelligence?
Do a bad job.
Intelligence is power of discrimination, to rationalize. And who makes decision? We make so many decisions day in and day out, isn't it? Who makes the decision? Is it mind makes the decision, or is this the intelligence makes the decision? Mind. See, mind's job, I said, is thinking, willing, feeling. Intelligence job is discrimination, to understand between right and wrong. Then who makes the decision? Mind or intelligence? Pick one. Don't jump between mind and intelligence. Sometimes mind, sometimes intelligence. What do you think?
Mind.
Mind makes a decision?
Who will say my mind is decided?
Right, we say, I have made up my mind.
Yeah.
I have made up my mind, right? People say that?
Yes.
Even though intelligence discriminates, even though intelligence says, hey, this is the right thing, but mind may not like it.
Okay. Yes. So the point I was coming to, there are two dogs, right? People give this analogy. There are two dogs inside us, good dog and bad dog, and there is a constant fight going on. And who wins? Whichever becomes more powerful. Whom you feed the more. If you feed your negative thoughts more, then the bad dog wins. If you feed your positive thoughts more, then the good dog wins. So there is a constant fight going on. So between mind and intelligence, who makes the decision? Who is the stronger? Ultimately, actually, it is the job of intelligence to make decision, because intelligence discriminate. Intelligence job is to discriminate between right and wrong. And if we have right intelligence, if we have sharpened our intelligence, then our intelligence will win over and it will propose the right things, that okay, you should do this. But if our mind is stronger, if we have fed up our mind so much, we are always listening to the mind, the proposals of mind, our mind is strong and it will win over intelligence. The bad dog win over the good dog. So who wins? Whichever you feed the more. If you try to control your mind with intelligence, then our intelligence will win over and you will make a right choice, a right decision. Why Arjuna was not able to make the right decision? He was in a conflict state. He was in a confused state because he was thinking to his mind. He was listening to his mind. Mind is proposing all these thoughts. You know, sometime you know, how many time you feel between the right and wrong. Yes, I should be doing this. But you end up doing the wrong thing. How many of you have gone through that? Most of the time it happens.
Yeah.
You know this is wrong, this is right, still we end up doing the wrong. Why? Mind is so powerful. Mind has overtaken. So in Bhagavad Gita it describes, so we said gross body, right? Gross body, those are senses. Our eyes, nose, ear, smell of this touch, that is gross body. Senses, better than senses is mind. Superior than senses is mind. And superior than mind is intelligence. So our intelligence is supposed to control the mind and mind is supposed to control the senses equipped by that intelligence. But because our conditioning is so much, our senses are so restless, our senses control the mind and mind control the intelligence, and it dictates, okay, figure out this thing. So your senses, they propose different things to the mind. Eyes want to see something. Eyes propose, I want to see a nice movie. Right? Your eyes and ears, all these senses are demanding something. Tongue is demanding, I want to taste something wonderful. They propose to the mind, okay, figure out. Today I want to eat samosa. Figure out. Go to the store, bring samosa. Our intelligence may say, no, you should not eat outside. So much of diseases are going on, this and that, outside food quality is not good, you should not do this. But our mind is so powerful. Mind overtakes intelligence. You end up at Patel Brothers, buy that samosa and feed yourself. So our senses control the mind, mind control the intelligence. Senses propose, I need to do this thing. They tell the mind, okay, go to school, get all this education, learn something, figure out how you can earn income, how you can manage all these things, so we can become happy. So mind, intelligence, and this ego. What is this ego? What is the meaning of ego?
I.
When we say I, right, that I, that is ego. Actually, ego, real word ego is identity. That is the meaning of ego. Identity. When you say I, means you are identifying something, right? That's I, identity. But we have false ego and real ego. One is our real identity, one is false identity. So that is false ego. Most of us are going with false identity. What is that false identity? I am this body. I am such and such person. I am Indian. I am American. I am Hindu. I am this. I am that. I am tall. I am small. I am rich. I am poor. I am happy. I am sad. All these are wrong identifications. So that is false ego. So our body is described, is compared with the chariot. You see here the example of chariot. The chariot with 5 horses. So our 5 senses, these are the 5 horses. Eyes, nose, ears, smell, touch. So these are the 5 horses. This whole body is like a chariot. The chariot has these 5 horses. And our mind is the reins of those horses. So the body is like the chariot, 5 senses are the chariot horses, the mind is the reins of those horses, and the intelligence is the chariot driver who is holding on to those reins. So our intelligence should control the mind. So the intelligence is that chariot driver who is holding on to those reins, and then the self, the soul, is the passenger on that chariot. So we are inside this body, occupying this body. This body is like a vehicle. So when you see a car, the car without a driver, is that car any valuable? Of course, these days we are working on autonomous cars. We want to make a driverless car. You can make a driverless car, but the car without a passenger is still useless. What is the purpose of car? It needs somebody to go from one place to another place. So not the driver, then passenger. Same thing. So somebody is needed. So there is a car, there is a driver or passenger of the car. Car without a driver or passenger is waste. But if you start to identify with your car only and you don't care about the driver or the passenger, is that a right proposal? Is that important? But people, that's what they do. They are taking care of the car so much, they forget to take care of themselves. Right? That false identification. So the self who is occupying this body, the chariot, which is like a chariot, that is our real identity. Now Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita. First point to understand is we are not the body, we are the soul. That is the starting point of understanding. Then what happens at the time of death? What happens to the soul? At the time of death, what happens to the body?
Remains.
You cremate the body, you burn the body, put it inside the earth, or you throw it in the water. So based on different tradition, people will do different things with the body, right? The dead body. So in the body, we have how many elements we said?
5.
5 gross element, right? 5 gross element, 3 subtle element. So this gross element, when you cremate the body, those gross element mix up with the elements of this material nature. जो earth element है, the bhumi, that will mix up with earth. The water element will mix up with water. The fire element will mix up with fire. The air element will mix up with air. The ether element will mix up with the ether. So the dead body, what remains is, at the end, same weight, 2-3 kgs of ashes, including that small parts of the bones. But what happens to the mind, intelligence and false ego and the self, the soul? What happens to the soul at the time of death?
Departs.
It departs. Where does it go?
Maybe to another body.
So it acquires another body. So that is what Krishna explains as the first thing to understand the soul and the concept of rebirth, reincarnation. In many traditions, people think, yes, there is soul. They believe in existence of soul, but they do not believe in the concept of reincarnation. Is that a right proposal? They think soul is there, but there is no reincarnation. This is our only life. After this, either there is eternity in hell or there is eternity in heaven. But this is the only life. So what does Bhagavad Gita teach? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explained, Dehino asmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. Komaram yovanam jara. As the soul passes within this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, similarly soul at the time of death passes into another body. So we are changing the body within this life also constantly. Do you understand that point? We are changing the body within this lifetime also. Earlier you were a small baby. How many of you remember yourself as a small child? Nobody remembers? At least you can look at some pictures, your old pictures. So you know you were at some point of time, you were a small baby. Then you grew up, youth. Now some of us may be at the old age. So we are growing within this body, our body is constantly changing. And the science also actually accepts that point that our body, all the cells in this body, they change completely, 100% change within 7 years. In a 7-year cycle, there is no cell which is same as 7 years before. So, I mean, in 7 years, the whole body is changing. So we are changing, we are passing from one body to another body within this lifetime also. We had a body of a small child, then a little better. So you see in this picture, in this diagram, what is shown here? There is a small baby, grows up, bigger, then ultimately he becomes old and then again passes into a new body. Again starts with a small boy, small baby. So that's what Krishna says. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Within this body, as we pass from boyhood to youth to old age, tatha dehantara praptir. Deha, this body is referred as Deha, Sharir. Deh anta. How many of you have heard the word Dehant? Right? Death is considered as Dehant. What is the meaning of Dehant? Again, common sense thing. Deh plus Ant. When the body ends, that is Dehant. Not the end of the soul. It is the end of the body. So when the body ends, we call it at the death. At the time of death, what happened? The soul leaves that body, it passes into another body. Tatha dehantra praptir. Dhiras tatrana muhyate. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So we are constantly changing from one body to another body to another body. There are 8.4 million species of life. How many species? 8.4 million species of life. Not 8.4 living entities. ऐसा नहीं कि population 8.4 million है. We know in this world how much is the population. So 8.4 different varieties of living entities. Birds, beasts, plants, trees, aquatic, human being. So all these are the different varieties. Such of these, there are 8.4 million species of life. And we pass on from one species of life to another species of life. That is how the soul transmigrate from one body to another. So why the soul does not die at the time of death? One may ask that question, what happens to soul? Why the soul does not die? So Krishna says, Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Ajo nitya. The soul is eternal. Shashvata. This is eternal. Purana. Oldest. Na hanyate. Does not die. Hanyamane sharire. When this body dies, the soul does not die. Why? If somebody burn up the body, right? If somebody put a fire to a living person, why the soul cannot burn? Soul is also occupying this body, so why the soul does not burn? If somebody throw a bomb, with the bomb the whole body is blasted, why the soul does not die? If there is an earthquake or there is a tornado, all these big buildings are torn apart, why the soul does not die? If there is a big tsunami, so many people can be drowned in that, the bodies are finished, whole cities are finished, why the soul is not finished? So what happened to the soul? Why the soul is not finished? So first of all, let's understand that point here. What Krishna says here, the characteristic of soul. Nanam chindanti shastrani, nanam dahati pavaka, na chainam kaledyanti apo, na shoshyati maruta. Nanam chindanti shastrani. There is no weapon which can pierce across the soul or cut the soul into pieces. For example, Arjuna was going to fight in the war. Arjuna was thinking, I have to kill my relatives. So when I kill the relatives, when I'm going to shoot these arrows, what if the arrow pierces through the body and it pierces into the soul also? Because soul is residing in the body. So can any weapon, any arrow cannot pierce through the soul also, finish the soul also, cut the soul also into pieces? What Krishna says, Nanam chindanti shastrani. There's no weapon in this world, no missile, no AK-47 or RDX which can blast this soul or can destroy this soul. Nanam dahati pavaka. We can burn the body is finished, but the soul is not burned. Soul cannot be burned. Na chainam kaledyanti apo. Apo means water. The soul cannot be moistened by the water. There may be tsunami, people can be drowned in that, but it cannot destroy the soul. Na shoshyati maruta. There may be a big tornado which can blow up the big buildings, uproot the trees, but it cannot destroy the soul. The soul cannot be dried up with the wind also. That is the nature of the soul. Soul is eternal. So what happened to the soul at the time of death then? So that's where Krishna says, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahanati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. How many of you give up your old clothes and put on new clothes? Everybody? Anybody here who started from that same baby suit and still wearing that same baby suit? Nobody, right? So you give up your old cloth, you put on new cloth. If you don't like the cloth, you give up that cloth and buy a new cloth. If the clothes are torn, you give up those clothes, buy new clothes. So as a person gives up the old and useless cloth and put on new cloth, same way, the soul, giving up the old and useless body, it acquires a new body. Because this body is just like a dress. There are 8.4 million varieties of dresses available for us. As you go to a store, you want to buy which kind of cloth you want to buy. You want to buy a jeans or a t-shirt or a dhoti or a pant or a formal pant or a shirt. What do you want to buy? Some Mataji go to the store, I want to buy a sari. What type of sari? You want a cotton sari, kanchivaram sari, silk sari? What sari you want to buy? So there are so many different variety of clothes available, and we can pick, right? We choose what kind of cloth you want to wear. So same way for us, there are 8.4 million varieties of bodies available. But who decides what kind of body are we going to get? Cloth you can decide. Still, actually, you have to decide based on certain factors. So who decide what kind of body we would going to get? Can you pick? I want to be born in the house of Tata Birlas, Ambanis. I want to be born in the house of the Prime Minister of the country. How many of you chose your parents before getting birth? I want to be taking birth in this family. Make sure I'm born in that place, that house. So who decide which body we are going to get, what kind of life situation we are going to get? Who decides?
God.
Okay, God. We are going to come to that point. That is our third topic. So first topic was search of happiness. Second topic in our journey of self-discovery is search of our real identity. Third topic is search of God. Does there any God exist or not? Okay, we will come to that point. Okay, karma. Okay. So, desire. Can you desire and that will happen? Can you just desire, I want this particular body, I want the body of a human being, I want the body of a mosquito, I want the body of a whale, I want the body of a tree? Can you desire and that can happen? No. Why not just by desire? So for example, when you go to the store also, coming back to the same example, right? You want to buy clothes. Mataji go to store, they want to buy a sari. Now they go to the store and the salesman start to show different variety of saris. Now ultimately, on what factor it will depend which sari you can buy. One is your desire, what type of sari you want to buy. Second thing will depend on how much money you have in your wallet. Right? How much you deserve. What is the factor there? Desire and deserve. So remember this 2D principle. Desire and deserve. It doesn't happen just our desire, but how much you deserve. What is there in your bank balance. So if you want to buy a 20,000 rupee sari, $20,000 sari, but in your wallet you have only $500, you have to adjust on that. You have to settle on that only. Isn't it? Same way. What kind of body we are going to get out of these 8.4 million species of life? What kind of bank balance we are carrying with us? That bank balance of, Mataji said, that our karmic reaction. That will be one of the topic in this journey. What is the concept of karma? So desire and deserve, these two factors decide what type of body we are going to get. But ultimately we should remember, we are not this body. We are the soul living in this body, and this body is just like a dress. When we come in this world, to live in this world, we need a particular type of dress. And there are 8.4 million type of dresses available for us to live in this world. Anybody a swimmer here? Like diver. Diving inside the oceans. Or a space scientist. People go to the space. Anybody? Somebody dives into the ocean, a diver. For them to survive in that water for a long time, what do they have to wear? A diving suit. Right? A diving suit. Swimming suit. Diving suit. So that they can survive in that environment for a long time. Somebody going into the space. For days and days, if they have to live in that space, in that environment, they need a space suit. Because within that, with the same body which we have, you cannot survive in the different life situation. So same way, we are eternal, but when we come in this material world, to live in this material world, we need a suitable costume to live in this material world. And there are 8.4 million varieties of costumes available. 8.4 million varieties of dresses available. So understand it in that way. So we are not the body, we are the soul who is putting on this costume right now. Different costume. Now, next question comes. Can you show me the soul? Seeing is believing, right? We discussed that. Some people are still into that mode. I believe only what I can see. So if you are saying we are not the body, we are the soul, somebody residing in the heart, in the body here, can you show me the soul so I can believe? Anybody here want to see the soul? You want to see the soul? So question may come, show me the soul. Can we see the soul? So what does Krishna say? Krishna says, Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvena nanushochitum arhasi. This soul, this is avyakta. Achintya is beyond our conception. It is beyond our ability to see. You cannot perceive the soul. You cannot see the soul. Why? Because the size of the soul, how much is the size of the soul? What is the size of the soul? Balagraha shatabhagasya shatadah kalpitasya cha bhago jiva savigyeha sa chanantyaya kalpate. So what is the description of the soul, the size of the soul? It says Bala agra shatabhagasya. Take the tip of the hair. First of all, the tip of the hair itself is a vague term. You take a hair from your head. What will be the tip of the hair? First 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 1 micromillimeter, 1 nanomillimeter of that tip. So what is the tip of the hair? Right? Or at the most somebody may say that the dot part, the circular part of the tip of the hair. So scriptures say you take the tip of the hair, you cut that tip of the hair into 100 pieces. First of all, cutting the tip of the hair, you can cut the hair, but can you cut the tip of the hair into 100 pieces? So cut the tip of the hair into 100 pieces, then take that one piece, again cut that into 100 pieces. That is like the size. So it's like a relative term. Okay? It's not as an exact measurement of the soul. It is a way to describe the soul because of which the consciousness is spread in the body that is so small in size. 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair, that is the size of the soul. Now, with your eyes, can you show such element? You need, to see some small bacteria and all, we need what? Microscopes and all those different instruments. So what is the scope of seeing the soul? So we cannot see the soul, but the presence of soul can be perceived because of consciousness. Right? That's what we discussed in the beginning. Because when there is consciousness present, it means there is a soul present. Otherwise, what is the difference in living body and dead body? See, as two living person, husband and wife living together happily, when the one person, when somebody dies, the other person cannot live with that person. Then the person will say, oh, take off this dead body quickly. As soon as you can take, that's better. I'm getting scared. I'm feeling scared because of this dead body. What happened? You loved that person so much. Earlier you were touching him, you were hugging him, you were embracing him. Now you are saying, take this dead body away. What happened? What changed? The absence of consciousness. So absence of consciousness changed that living person into a dead person. Now you don't, earlier you could not live without the person, now you cannot live with the person. Right? Live with the dead body. You want to get rid of that as soon as possible. So we cannot see the soul. And people spend so much time understanding the bodies. But they don't spend any time understanding the real self. Everybody is taking selfies. People go different places, different tourism, this, that, and people want to take their selfie. Stand in front of Taj Mahal, take selfie. Stand in front of something, take selfie. Stand in front of Niagara Falls, take selfie. Selfie, 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 everywhere selfie. But there are so many selfies, but there is very less knowledge of the self. Because people are in what consciousness? bodily consciousness. So we need to understand first of all who we are, then we will be able to solve the problems of life. Because we are acting at the level of body. And we are trying to become happy at the level of body. And we are forgetting who really I am. For example, there is a car and the car driver. Car has its food. What is the food of the car? Petrol, gas, whatever you call it, diesel or electric charge. This is electric cars. So there is a particular food for the car. But can you feed the same food to the driver? Open your mouth, put a gas pipe inside. Okay, 2 gallon gas put inside. Now you should be satisfied. Is it possible? Will you be happy? Next time you feel hungry, your wife opens up your mouth and put a gas pipe inside. So the body, same way the body and the soul, they have their different needs. And we are trying to become happy at the level of body. And we can never become happy at the level of body. As a driver cannot become happy with the food for the car, or the car cannot be functioning with the food of the driver. You open the tank of the fuel cap of the car and start putting rasgulla, jalebi, samosa, kachori inside. See, I fed you so many things, now start working. Car has its food, driver has its food. You cannot feed the food of the person to the car or the food of the car to the person. Same way, we have different needs. The body has its different needs, but the soul has its different need. And who is causing this consciousness? That is the soul. And we are ignoring the soul. We are not feeding the right food for the soul. We are just trying to become happy at the level of body. This woman went to the sadhu. And the sadhu first thing told, you know, you are not the body, you are the soul. What? I'm spending all my time to become happy at the level of body. I'm going to the beauty parlor, getting this all makeup, nice nail paints and the hair paint and this skin massage and all this face lift and whatnot. I'm trying to become happy at the level of body, and you're telling me I'm not the body, I'm the soul? So it's a big shock. There was once a woman, she had a nice parrot. She bought a very beautiful parrot. A rich woman, and she thought, let me put this parrot inside a golden cage. Very rich woman, and she wanted to put that parrot in a nice golden cage. So she bought a golden cage. The parrot is inside the cage. Parrot is making the sound. And this woman is thinking, oh, maybe parrot is not happy. Maybe he is not happy with this gold cage. Let me decorate the golden cage with some other pearls and jewels. So she decorate the cage, clean up the cage nicely. The parrot is still making noise. Oh, let me further decorate the cage. This parrot is still making noise. And after some time, this parrot dies. This woman is wondering, what happened? I kept the parrot in this beautiful gold cage, decorated with nice pearls and diamonds, and I'm cleaning that cage, making it shine nicely. But this parrot died. Why the parrot was making sound? Parrot is making quack, quack, whatever sound the parrot makes. Parrot is making that sound because parrot is hungry. Parrot is saying, feed me, feed me, feed me. And she is always taking care of the cage, cleaning the cage, making it shine more and more. Ultimately, what happened? The parrot died. We are trying to take care of this body so much, trying to become happy at the level of body. Let me buy this thing, I will become happy. Let me go to this tourism, I will become happy. Let me buy a big house, I will become happy. Somebody has a small Toyota Camry, he wants a big Lexus or BMW. One has two bedroom apartment, he wants a 4-bedroom house. Somebody has a 4-bedroom house, he wants a 10-room big mansion. So everybody is searching for these things to become happy. At what level? At the level of bodily consciousness. And we are forgetting the soul who is residing in this body. And we are forgetting our relationship with the master of that soul. the master of this whole, controller of everything. So I will end up with this one story. Okay. So once there was a king. Okay, listen this story very carefully. Some of you may have heard this story. So pay attention. What this represents. Once there was a king and he had 4 queens. How many queens? 4 queens. And this king came to know, I am about to die. So this king, he had one queen who was very favorite of that king. He was very dear to him. Then relatively second queen, third queen and the fourth queen, lesser and lesser and lesser. So this king, as he came to know I am going to die, he went to the queen which was the dearest to him. And he told the queen, I am about to die. Will you come with me? Guess what? What was the response of that queen? No, I cannot come with you. As soon as you die, I will go to somebody else. I will find somebody else. And this king is surprised. I have spent so much time, so much energy to keep this queen happy, to satisfy that queen, to make her happy, fulfill all her desires, and at the end, what is happening? She said, I will go to somebody else. King was disappointed, went to the second queen, told the same thing. I came to know I am about to die. Will you come with me? The queen said, I will be very sad when you die. I will cry. But ultimately, life has to move on. So, I will continue with my life. So, sorry. King was further disappointed. Went to third queen. The third queen, he told the same thing. I'm about to die. Will you please come with me? Let's die together. The third queen said, yes, I will be very sad. I will cry for months and months. I will miss you. I will observe your death day, death anniversary year after year. I will remember you. Ultimately, life has to move on. I will continue. I will somehow manage. So sorry. King was disappointed, and he did not have even guts to go to the fourth queen, because the fourth queen he always neglected. He did not take care of the fourth queen, even though the fourth queen did the most for the king, taking care of the king, feeding the king, serving the king, taking care of all his needs. But the king had always neglected the fourth queen. He was enjoying with the other queens, trying to make them happy. And as the king did not have even the courage to go to the fourth queen, he turned back to go away, heard a voice from the back. I will come with you. King was surprised. Looked back, fourth queen, telling, I will come with you. Now, question for all of you. Who is this king? And what are these 4 queens? So king, I will tell you. So we all are the king. So you can become happy for a minute. You all are the king. So if you were aspiring for that goal, something become big. So I tell you today, you are the king. What are these 4 queens? All of us have these 4 queens. So what does this first queen represent?
Money.
First queen, our wealth, our possessions, behind which we run so much. We try to acquire more and more, try to keep our car shining, our home well, nice and this thing, acquire big and big. So the first queen represents our possessions. And when the person dies, can we take anything with us? We cannot take anything. A single penny we cannot take with us. So the first queen, it will just stay here. What did the first queen say? I will find somebody else. I will go to somebody else. So all our wealth, all our possessions, somebody else will claim those. Right? Either you can already transfer it to somebody, or somebody else will automatically claim that. So that is the first queen. What does the second queen represent? Second queen said, yes, I will be sad. I will cry, I will go up to your cremation ground. First queen doesn't even go step out of the house. The person dies, dead body is taken away, stays back, doesn't even come with you to the cremation ground also. The second queen said, I will come to your cremation ground, I will cry, I will be sad. Ultimately life has to go on. So what does the second queen represent? Actually, the second queen represents our social circle, our friend circle, neighbors, our social circle, society. We pay so much attention to our social circle. मेरे friends क्या बोलेंगे? What will my friends say? What will my neighbors say? What will my relatives say? And we try to please them, impress them so much. Many people try to gain something to impress people. Right? Otherwise people think, oh, such a failure. Isn't it? So we try to impress people so much, we give them so much attention, and sometimes we quarrel with family members to impress other people. We don't care of the family, our close family, because we're trying to impress others. We're trying to impress relatives, neighbors, friends. If my son does not go to the topmost university, the top university, what will my neighbor think? What will my neighbor think? What will my friend think? What will my colleagues think? उसे तो मुझे हार्वर्ड में ही भेजना है. Right? So we put so much attention towards our social circle. Ultimately, what will happen? People, yes, they will go to your cremation. People will come 14 दिन के लिए. 14 दिन भी किसके पास समय आजकल? Who comes for 14 days? People will come one day for the funeral. They will be sad. Ultimately, life goes on. Everybody is busy with their lives. That's it. End of story. But we spend so much of our time and energy to please others. People, you invite them, come to the program. And the neighbors say, अरे कहाँ जा रहे हो? हमारे साथ party में आओ. Come to the party with us. And we think, yeah, I need to please my neighbor. Otherwise he will stop talking to me. I have to please my friends. Otherwise they will cut off from me. And then who does the third queen represent?
Family, close family.
Our close family. Right? Your spouse, your children. So yes, you have spent some time on them, taking care of them. And family, when the person goes away, the person dies, the family is very sad. For days, months, yearly they will observe that day. But ultimately, does the life stop? Life goes on. And who is this fourth queen? No, the king itself is a soul. We are not the body, we are the soul. The king is going away means after leaving the body, the soul is going. So who is the fourth queen?
Karma.
So our karma, actually, the fourth queen is Paramatma, living in the heart with the soul. Wherever the soul goes, Paramatma also goes with the soul. So Paramatma says, yes, I will come with you. No matter you become a dog or an ant or a tree, I will be always with you. So he is our dearmost friend. He is our dearmost friend who is with us in every situation of life. He is waiting for us to turn towards him. But we are busy trying to please all others. Even though he is the one who is taking care of all our needs. Man proposes, God disposes. He sanctions, he is the sanctioner. He is the witness. So he is providing everything for us, but we don't pay any attention. We are busy with all other things. But he is always with us as our dearmost friend. So if we really want to become happy, we have to stop thinking at the level of body and start thinking at the level of our real identity. Who really I am? I am not this body, I am the soul. And the soul is eternal. When the body dies, the soul does not die. So now the third question comes. Who is or does God exist? Does God exist? Do we have real faith in God? Does God exist and who is God? So that we can understand what is the relationship of soul with the super soul. So that will be our third topic, to understand that systematically, logically, does God exist and who is God? So we'll stop here for today's session. Journey of self-discovery. What was the second topic? Search of our real identity. Quiz. So before I come for the quiz, anybody has any question? Any comment? Any question or comment? Otherwise I will ask question. I did not put it on the screen, but I'm going to just verbally ask. No questions?
What is space? Ether, space.
Space, Akash. Right? When we say space, that is the space. Like vacuum. Because for the sound to travel, it needs the sound vibration. Where does the sound vibration travel? In space.
Out of these four bodies, so where does your body fits?
Body is not our real identity. When we leave, right, the body is burnt up. Who is leaving? That is the soul is leaving. So the king, ultimately he is identifying himself with the body, but as he is leaving, all these four queens for which he was paying attention to, nobody will come with the soul. Only the super soul will continue with the soul. So the body is anyways leaving behind. It's gone.
There's no meaning at all.
So rather than identifying ourselves with the king, we have to identify with the somebody who's occupying the body of the king.
How could you make your soul happy?
So we'll understand, we will discuss that also. So how we can really become happy, right? That is the search of happiness. Rather than trying to become happy at the level of body, which everybody is trying, yes, there is a flickering happiness. We need to keep the body also fit, right? The body also functioning. So the body has its need, no doubt. So we have to keep the needs of the body also there. But ultimately, if we want to become happy, then you have to become happy at the level of your soul, the level of consciousness, who is your real identity. So that is also one of the topic we are going to discuss, how we can really become happy at the level of soul. What is the food for the soul? So no question? Can I open up the questions? One question?
Why do some people remember like their next lives, but then others don't?
So why somebody remember their previous life and others do not? Actually, to some extent, most of the people, most of the children, they can remember their previous life. When the child in the dream or in the sleep, he cries, all of a sudden he shrinks and make these sort of noises. Why? What happened? Why he is crying? He is not able to speak. He is not able to express, but he is in a very fearful situation because he remembered something. He is not able to express. So up to a certain time we remember our previous lives, but with the time, because of the contact with this material nature, we are made to forget. And some people can remember for longer duration. Again, that is because of their desire. If somebody has a strong desire, I want to remember how I was in my previous life, and also sometimes the previous life memory is given. But somebody asked this question actually, why everybody is not given their previous life memory? If we could be given our previous life memory, we could understand what I did wrong, what I did right, so I could avoid, right, to not make those sort of mistakes again. So why I'm not given that previous life memory? It could help me. Right? Actually, if we were given our previous life memories, we will not be able to continue with our lives. Our life will become so miserable thinking those past bad experiences and bad memories. Will be completely drowning into that and not able to continue with our lives. So just to give us that blessing, that benefit, we are not given that past life memories. So for that, yes, there is consciousness given. There are impressions still continue. Some impressions still continue. Because mind is the storehouse. Right? Mind is the storehouse. It continues with some impressions. Let's say some phobias are there. A child has certain phobia. A phobia of height, phobia of water, phobia of fire. From where that is coming? That small child has never countered that situation. But he has a phobia of that particular situation. Because impressions from the previous lives are stored. Our mind is the storehouse of those impressions. When the soul continues, one thing I which did not mention, when the body dies, the gross body is finished, the subtle body continues with the soul. So the mind, intelligence and ego, that continues, the subtle body continues with the soul to go to the next body. So the mind is the storehouse of all those thoughts. It's keeping those thoughts. Sometimes why are we getting all these sort of different sort of thought, different sort of desires? Because of previous conditioning. Okay? So that is one way which is helping us to not make this mistake, and ultimately Super Soul is there to guide us if we want to look towards that. He is ready to guide us. So the example is given as like a bird on the tree. A bird is sitting on the tree and there is another bird sitting. The second bird is just witnessing this first bird eating that fruit of the tree, trying to do all those things. But this first bird, the second bird is not interfering. He is just there for the first bird, if the first bird want to look towards the second bird. So same way the soul and super soul, both are there in the body. The super soul is also there to guide us if we want to look towards that, asking for guidance. More to come on this when we talk about does God exist and who is God, and then karma principle. We'll discuss more on that. Alright? Question?
What is the Kali Yuga life? So there is some life, right?
Kali Yuga life. Actually there's another topic because Bhagavad Gita has 5 topics. Anybody remember what 5 topics we mentioned? Did we mention? We mentioned, right? What are the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita on a major big level? Soul, super soul,
Field,
karma, time, and prakriti, material nature. So soul, super soul, Atma, Bhagavan, then karma, time, and so time is called prakriti, material nature. So time, there is a duration of time calculation also mentioned. We say there are 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Duration of Kali Yuga is mentioned as 4,32,000 years. 4,32,000 years. And right now, the life which is going on is Kali Yuga. And it started 5,000 years ago. So we are still in the beginning part of Kali Yuga. First 10,000 years of Kali Yuga is described as golden period of Kali Yuga. Okay? So golden period is like that. What will happen to the silver period and the iron period of Kali Yuga? As the Kali Yuga progresses more and more. So right now we are in the golden period and so many problems are there. Everywhere violence and this and that. But that is golden period of Kali Yuga. So do you want to really live in the silver period, iron period of Kali Yuga, or you want to get out of here? Enough is enough. We say enough is enough. So that's why we need to understand what we need to do. What is the food for the soul? So that we can become really happy, eternally happy. So Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. The Yuga before, Dwapar Yuga, is double the duration of Kali Yuga. Treta Yuga is triple the duration of Kali Yuga. And Satya Yuga is 4 times the duration of Kali Yuga. And that is the whole cycle of 4 Yuga. So the whole cycle of 4 Yuga is 43 lakh years. So Kali Yuga is 4,32,000, but the whole cycle of 4 Yuga is 43 lakh years. And we'll discuss more in coming days. Now question. Okay, let's just finish it quickly. Prashadam is waiting.
One last
question. Okay.
regarding this soul, like as it is a transforming from one species to another. So somewhere I saw some video, but basically like if the past soul itself has some tribal and all that, and then if it comes to him, like it comes to me with the current situation. So if that all the past tribal or like shadows or like anything, whatever it is, like will still be carried out or cause disturbances, or like it is like a fresh soul for this.
No, it's not as a fresh soul. Soul is always same. We are always the same. It's not that we are changing. So somebody is able to, so you grow within this body from boyhood to youth to old age, but you still have, the whole body has changed, but you still have your memories from the childhood, right? Because the soul is same, it is remembering those things. So same way when we change the bodies also, it's the same soul continuing, the soul does not change. So for the soul there is no change.
So soul will not cause any problem.
Problems are not caused by the soul. Problem is caused by the bodily conception of life. When we start to identify ourselves with the body. So that because of that the problems are caused. When we are identifying ourselves with the mind, with the body, which we are not, that is the cause of problem. So when we say you are suffering, who is actually suffering? Is this the body suffering? Is this the mind suffering? Is the intelligence suffering? Is the soul suffering? Who is actually suffering? So the problem is happening at the level of body and mind, not at the level of soul. But the soul is, because it's identifying itself with the body, the soul is experiencing that.
It's like giving the food to the soul, and all that means like isolating and not linking everything.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So, how do we understand soul? How can we understand soul? Different methods to understand soul. Common sense. Next.
Body experience.
Scientific experiments based on near-death experience, out-of-body experience, and past life memories. Right? The examples of reincarnation where people had their past life memories. So these are the different methods of understanding the soul. Now, what happened to the soul at the time of death? The soul passes into another body. Why the soul cannot die?
Nothing could.
Why the soul cannot die? Can the soul be cut into pieces?
No.
Can the soul be burned? Can the soul be drowned? Can the soul be withered by the wind? That is the characteristic of the soul. So soul does not die with any of these different things. Soul is eternal. What factor decides our next body? What factor describe our next body? The 2D, desire and deserve. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajate ante kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So that is also another verse which describe what is our consciousness at the time of death. That state you will attain in the next life. If somebody is thinking of a cockroach at the time of death, what will he become? Cockroach. If your whole consciousness is absorbed in an ant at the time of death, you will become an ant. So whatever is our state of consciousness, yam yam. So yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Wherever our consciousness is absorbed. And where our consciousness will reside at the time of death? Whatever you have done throughout your life. So throughout the life, whatever you have done, at the time of death, it goes in front of your eyes. It is a fast-forward movie. So if somebody has so much addicted to meat eating, that is the scene which is going in front of his eyes. He is seeing those chickens, those goats being slaughtered. What will you become? You will become that only. Somebody is too much attached to one's dog. Somebody has a pet dog at the home. And at the time of death, your whole consciousness is absorbed in that pet dog. What will you become? Dog. So our desires and our karmic reaction deserve that determine what will we become in our next life. So desire and deserve. So ultimately this body is compared to what? This body is compared with what? Dress, clothing. Right? This body is like a chariot. and the soul is the passenger on this chariot. Okay, so that is the quiz, end of the quiz. So thank you very much. We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.